Hello, Wanderlusters. Welcome to Two for the Win with your host, Nick and Will. We have a treat for you today. We are going to talk about Costa Rica. Intrigued? You should be. There's a lot of really cool things, and we have our resident expert, Nick Menard, and also a big shout out to Nick Menard and Associates with Dream Vacations for sponsoring today's episode to bestow some knowledge on having a dream vacation in Costa Rica. How you doing this Wednesday, Nick?
Living the dream one day at a time. Hello, Will. Hello, winners.
Hello. So please be sure to subscribe, share, and follow Two for the Win on your favorite platform. We're on all of them. Also, especially for the Wanderlust Wednesday, check out YouTube and the photos and the video. Our production company does a great job and can help visualize what we're going to chat with you about today. So, why Costa Rica, Nick? What made you think, hey, you know what, this will be a great... I'm intrigued by Costa Rica, but what do you think should be things people are thinking about it?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Why Costa Rica? Well, we talked about, I'm going to think about the next episode because usually, in all transparency, you take care of more the topic of Monday Mindset and I take care more of the topic of Wanderlust Wednesday. And I was thinking and I'm like, I was a little bit stuck because I can go a million different directions. And then a calling from above. I get a call from someone, not someone that someone, not a close version of me. So it's like a prospect, a client, and asking me about Costa Rica. And I'm like, oh, that's a destination I sell often, and we never spoke about this. So I'm like, you know what? Because I was explaining, he was asking me a question about Costa Rica specific, but based on what he wanted to do with his family, I thought that Costa Rica was probably not the place I would choose based on your budget that you need to have for Costa Rica and based on other destination that would fit better what he was looking for. And so I'm like, let's have an episode about this and talk about, what is Costa Rica good for and what is maybe not good for.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Little fun fact before you get in deep on the travel thing. About, I think it was 10, 11 years ago, I was looking at getting LASIK. And Costa Rica, for a lot of people who don't know, at the time anyway, I'm not sure what the rankings are now, but at the time they were like in the top 10, top 12 countries in terms of the World Health Organization. So they have a really good medical system. And I'm like, I was, getting prices for the LASIK, and I'm like, ooh, for a fraction of the price, I could go to Costa Rica and then make a nice trip out of it. But then I actually found somebody who was really reputable, who had really low prices, and I got it here in the States. But like I said, I haven't checked the world rankings lately, but they are known to have good healthcare, just FYI. So you're thinking of getting some treatments. If you could combine a little vacay with getting the treatment, why not?
Yeah. Thank you for not going to Costa Rica for that because you end up giving me the name of your LASIK surgeon, and I used the same one for me
Yeah.
back in 2000. What I was 18 or something like that.
Yeah.
So that was I was very happy with it as well. Now I need to wear glasses because I'm getting old, and so
Yeah, same. I get the readers. I feel like Grandma Moses or Grandpa Moses or something. I get the readers.
Oh, it's funny.
What could he do? But let's get back for our folks. So when people think of Costa Rica, usually they picture nature, like a lot of green, wildlife. But what do most travelers overlook about Costa Rica, in your opinion?
That's a good question as well. You're doing good today. Good job, brother. So most people think Costa Rica is jungle, like zip lines and sloth. And while that, and while
Like
that,
how we were in Vegas for the March Madness.
yeah, exactly. And while it's true, definitely part of it, what they overlook is how diverse the experience can be. And so Costa Rica is one of the destinations where you can design your trip completely differently depending on your intention. We all have different wants and needs, and Costa Rica will be able to give you most of them. You can go full adventure mode. You can unplug and reconnect in nature, or you can just relax in luxury resort by the beach. And all three feel like totally different trips. I have my 2 cents about what I think Costa Rica destination should be for. but we're gonna talk about all those what all those styles. So what people underestimate is how intentional you need to be. If you don't plan it right, you can end up, like trying to do everything and not fully experiencing anything. So Costa Rica rewards clarity. And we talk about clarity a lot in Monday Mindset mainly. So the more intentional you are, the better the experience becomes. And so we're gonna go into those three buckets, as I like to say. And then at the end, I'm gonna say which one I think would be better to probably go somewhere for. But if you really want Costa Rica, you will be able to fit in any of those three buckets or a combination of them.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I remember when I was checking out Costa Rica, it's not a very wide country, but it's very long.
Yeah,
And, with the mountains, to your point, you have to be intentional with it because certain areas you would think, "Oh, that doesn't look like it's too far to drive or take a thing." It takes a long time because of the mountains and stuff. So that's a great point about being intentional with it. Otherwise, you could end up spending more time traveling than you are enjoying the actual country itself. So
absolutely.
yeah, yeah. Awesome. All right, well, let's break it down. What's the first way somebody can experience Costa Rica in your opinion?
Okay, the first way for me, and that's for me the best way, or if you want to do that, I would be 100% Costa Rica is the place to be. Definitely the fact that it's not that far from Florida where we're at. So the first way for me, adventure and nature experience. So this is the most iconic version of Costa Rica, and for some good reason. So this experience is all about rainforest, waterfalls, volcanoes, even. And so that's something, if you are adventurous and you just want to experience all of that, you don't need to go to Hawaii, or you go to, South America that have a lot of those like places like that. Zip lining through the canopy, it's something that it's extremely popular in Costa Rica. So again, it's adventurous. Hiking in places like Arenal and Monteverde, that's also something very popular in Costa Rica. So don't go. It's not this part of the bucket. It's not about laying down at the beach and just sipping pina colada. Wildlife encounter. So, okay, I talk about the sloth, but there's also a bunch of monkeys. Exotic birds are also very easy to encounter in Costa Rica, and they are majority of places they are very protected. But you can go to different places. There's tons of zoos, like big zoos and reserves that you can also go through. But if you just go in nature in Costa Rica, you may encounter any of those as well. So it's active, immersive, and energizing. You're not just observing nature, you're in it. But what makes Costa Rica special is the adventure here is accessible. It's not hard to do any of those things I just mentioned in one country or even in one side of the country. You don't need to be an extreme athlete, because I had that question actually coming up yesterday about the fact, hey Nick, I have a 12 years old. Would it be okay, because they're more adventurous in some aspect. And so I'm like, well, yes, it is. But you need to know where to go, but it's totally possible. So you have different level of athletes, or, way that you like to be active. Everything is organized, safe. It's very safe and guided in a way that allows anyone to participate. So that's the positive thing about this bucket. But is this perfect for who? Perfect for first-time adventure seeker, families with teens, like I just mentioned, couples who want a mix of fun and connection. Um, and again, you can use different buckets, not only one bucket at a time. You can use different bucket that we're going to talk about. And it's a version of Costa Rica that wakes you up physically and mentally. So I really love that part, because, yeah, you will need a vacation from the vacation if you use that bucket only.
Yeah, for sure. I think my sister-in-law and brother-in-law went 15, 20 years ago. They like to hike, so they did a lot of hiking. And it's like anywhere, right? You have different trails. Like some hikes are easier and some are harder. But the waterfalls, the
Mhm.
scenery was just amazing from their pictures. So yeah, the hiking. If you're a hiker, that's very picturesque, and you have different trails for different abilities, hiking abilities, I suppose you could say on that one. Cool, cool. All right. Well, what a way to start right out of the gates. We got some great visuals for folks. And when you think about the second way, how does that shift, from that high energy experience? So you talked about,
Mhm.
being immersed in nature, being active and things like that. What's more maybe a lower key way?
Wellness, slower pace,
Namaste.
pura vida experience. So that's the experience number two. And this is where Costa Rica becomes something deeper. Okay. So like I said, pura vida is just, I mean, it's not just a phrase, it's a way of life, and it's about slowing down, being present, and appreciating simplicity. So this experience is all about yoga retreat and wellness resort. So a little sideway. I was watching yeah, I was look at the video so you can see me really doing yoga. That's worth every penny. Uh, so I was watching a show recently on Netflix, and yeah, that was a little bit crazy show with like a jealousy murder or something, a real documentary on Netflix. And the lady, was a fugitive. So she left the country, change her name and stuff like that. And she ended up in Costa Rica because she was a yoga teacher, and she thought I will be able to hide there and be a yoga teacher. I got among the monkeys and the sloth. Well, she got caught after a couple of months, I think. So yeah, but anyway, so like yoga retreats are very, very popular in Costa Rica. So if you love yoga, check it out. You will be able to find tons of retreats online about that. Nature immersion without rushing. So we mentioned first that you can really experience the nature by hiking, by being very active, but you can also experience the nature on your pace, without any rush. Hot springs. We are in Florida. We know that hot springs is huge with us. Like when we go to Ocala Place area and stuff like that. Spa treatment are very, very popular over there, and quiet mornings. You can have really like your coffee on the porch. I know you love that, and just chilling, and then go to the hot springs and have like a massage. It sounds like the perfect day for Will, by the way. So that would
It
be
does.
also something great. And then just the time to disconnect and reset. So that would be a great place to do that as well. It's not the only place that you can do that, but you can do that in an environment that's a little bit different when you go to Costa Rica. Instead of doing more, you're doing less, but with more intention. And so this is perfect for busy professionals like us who needed a reset, entrepreneurs like us, or leaders like us seeking clarity, couples not like us, wanting reconnections. So we can definitely, if you are with your significant other, you want to celebrate an anniversary or something like that. That would be something a little bit different than the normal place that you would think of. And anyone feeling overwhelmed by life, you can definitely go to Costa Rica and use bucket two that we're talking like right now. It's not just a vacation; it's a recalibration, I would say.
Yeah. No, that sounds lovely. And again, I think that's one of the really neat things about Costa Rica is it does have these kind of like different elements to it. To like what you're saying in the beginning, being intentional. So if you want that serene, do some yoga, have the spa day, still surrounded by nature, you can have that. And then you can mix it, right? You can have active days, obviously, of course. But all right, so we covered two. I know you mentioned three at the beginning. So, and the third way, like, what does Costa Rica look like from a luxury or relaxation perspective? We touched on it a little bit, but I'm eager to hear more, especially on the luxury side.
The beach, the fancy resort like Dreams, for example, that's very popular that I personally love in Costa Rica. Luxury and effortless escape experience. So this is also you will pay for it, and I will say that, and that's the reason why I mentioned in the beginning. I'm gonna share my personal thought about it. I personally, if I want to go to a exotic place and have high luxury 5-star resort, my goal is to stay on site. So having pools, beach, and things like that. I would choose something else than Costa Rica because you will have the same experience or even higher level of service in other exotic countries. I know nobody wants to hear Mexico. I don't know why, but Mexico, nobody can beat the service and the quality of service that Mexico has to go. No, if you go to extreme luxury, that we talk different. Like I have other place that I would recommend, but high level of luxury, high 5-star resort close to where we live in Florida, there is no one who can beat Florida, who can beat Mexico. So that's and now it's not dangerous, because all I hear is, oh my god, I heard about the thing that happened with the drug dealer. I'm like, yes, it's 4 hours flying from where I would send you. So
Yeah.
yeah, if you hear something in Minnesota in US, I'm like, oh my god, I'm not going to go to Fort Myers because something happened in Minnesota. That's the same. That doesn't make sense. So so yeah, so that's something that I want to say. But I want to tell more about, if you still want to go to Costa Rica for that, why is that positive? All right. So um, actually, this is the part Costa Rica did surprise people the most, and it's also the part that most people book for, which is also very strange for the agency that we have. So you've got beautiful coastal regions like Guanacaste, and where the experience is. So you have beautiful beach resort and boutique hotel, ocean views, like beautiful sunset, of course, anywhere. You can have those great one when you go to those exotic places, and layback days, large pools with like a swimmer bar and all of that. You have everything there. World class service with a natural setting, a blend of relaxation with optional adventure. You have bunch of water sport that you can experience there as well, like you can anywhere else, but you can do that as well there. The difference that I had with Dreams is the surroundings. So when you're sitting in the pool or at the beach, you look around. It's another scenery that you will have in DR, in Jamaica, in Mexico, in all those places, because you will have literally, it's like a rainforest around. So you have that feeling is a little bit different, which I personally like. Is it worth the additional price? That's something that you need to decide for yourself. It's luxury, but it's not in a flashy way. I don't know how to say that better. It's more
No.
grounded, more connected to nature. You can spend your day by the ocean, then choose to add experience like snorkeling or sailing or sunset catamaran, which is very popular. But nothing feels rushed. It's on your pace, and it's really whenever you want to do. This is ideal for honeymoons or anniversaries. Like I mentioned, anniversary, but honeymoon as well. A lot of people reach out for honeymoon over there. A couple wanting ease and comfort, travelers who want to relax but still feel like there's something unique. It's effortless travel with just enough adventure if you want it. So this part is very, is something that more people can picture probably while listening to the podcast, because you already been probably to an all-inclusive resort, but it's a little bit different by the look of things around the resort. All right. So I said that's bucket number 3. Now again, you can mix buckets. All right, depending how long you stay. But you could have a very, very relaxing experience by mixing bucket 3 and 2, for example.
Mhm. Yeah. No, that makes sense. And, it's interesting call out because I think, you make a compelling case for Mexico and things like that. But if somebody really did want to get that more surrounded by nature kind of experience while they're at the all inclusive, then yeah, Costa Rica makes sense. It could be worth the added investment, for that. So, no, handy tip. See, folks, this is why you got to listen to an expert who knows. You get these little tips to consider in that. But all right, so we covered the 3 buckets. We can mix and match buckets, like you said. But so how would someone decide like which version of Costa Rica is right for them, and how can they combine all 3, not just a couple of those
Okay,
buckets?
my advice as a travel advisor would be a combination, completely a combination of the 3 or 2 of the 3. Like I said, if you want complete rest with added, pampering, definitely 2 and 3 would be 2 great buckets to combine. All right. It can become a little bit pricey if you combine the wellness aspect. So if you want a lot of massages and those hot stones and things like that, combined to a 5-star exclusive resort.
Yeah.
But again, everybody have different kind of budget, so I don't want to talk to for anyone, but some people may have an issue with that part. But you can actually combine all 3. And honestly, that's where Costa Rica really shines, and that's what I would personally do if I go there back there. The key is not trying to do everything at once, and that's why I mentioned in the beginning, preparation is so very important. Don't go to Costa Rica the same way you go to DR or Mexico. That's not gonna work, or you're not gonna get 100% of the value you should receive by going to a country like Costa Rica. So we will be there to design the flow intentionally. That's what I think the best way I can put it. A a great trip could look like starting with adventure inland. So in Arenal, that I mentioned earlier, is very popular. Rainforest can do something like that. Then transitioning into wellness and slower pace. So then you can go, wherever you are at the time of the trip, you can go get a spa day, for example, treatments and stuff like that. And then you drive more, you experience like some more like animal encounter that you can do in those big parks that you can find easily in Costa Rica. And then you end your trip, maybe the last 3-4 days, depending the length of the trip, the length that you want. You end up probably to relax the last 3-4 days at a nice resort where you can just ending your vacation at the beach, and fully unwind. I think that would be great. So starting with the adventure seeking part, then do like the pampering part, and then you end up by relaxing. So when you fly back home, you feel like you experienced something new. You feel like you saw something you never saw before. You've been taken care of, and then you really relaxed. So when you come home, you can go back to your business, job, or anything you want to do back home. But the most important question is not what should I do, but what do I need right now for myself? And if you ask yourself the right question, which is the case for everything in life, but if you ask yourself the right question, you will get better outcome. So maybe, do you need energy? You know what to do. Do you need clarity? We talk about it. You can find something. Or do you need rest? Which is the easy one. You go to bucket tree directly. For rest, Costa Rica can deliver all of it. But the magic happens when you match the experience to your life season. And when you do that, then you will come back with like tons of positive feedback and great experience, and you can say that you really experience Costa Rica. Because when I have clients going to one of those fancy exclusive resorts and come back and say, yes, I experienced Costa Rica, I would not think so, because you experience like a nice resort at the
Mhm.
beach. And so Costa Rica, it's something that should be intentional. And that's what I share with my client when he called me recently. And I said, don't do it for the reason you want. Just relaxing at the beach in a country you've never been. Don't
Yeah.
do that in Costa Rica, because the price tag will be too big for the experience. Rent a car. And you mentioned something very, very important beginning of the podcast episode, when you said things seems to be close, but they are not. It's like
Mhm.
Vegas.
Yeah.
When you are on the strip, you say, "Oh, want to go to Venetian? It's there." And then, well, 15 minutes later, you are
Blisters
halfway.
on your
And
feet.
you're like,
Yeah.
"What is that?"
Yeah.
So, so that's the same, but different. So,
Yeah.
I remember I think it was in January or December. I had a client. It was for 12 people, so it was a family getaway, and they told me, "Oh, we want to go there, there, there." And then they said, "Yeah, we checked on the map. It's not that far." And effectively, it was, I think, 70 miles or something like that. But it was 4.5 hours driving.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's because what you mentioned, mountains, those roads, it's not 75 in Southwest Florida
No.
or 95 in Miami.
Yeah.
It's not something like that.
Right.
You need to pay attention. Some place it's like crazy. You feel like, can my car go there? So
Yeah. Narrow, narrow
and
roads.
also if you drive through Costa Rica, make some stop along the way, take some picture, like see the real Costa Rica, like I like to say, and
Mhm.
you will have so much more to share and memories that will last forever, because you did something outside the box instead of just staying in a cookie cutter like box. So don't look at the map and say, "Oh, I can do all of this." Now you cannot, or you need more time. And
Yeah.
so that would be my recommendation based on the 3 buckets and how to model them the best in my estimation.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, what a compelling kind of picture you've painted for people and things to consider. And so if you want a little bit more of that guidance and you try to figure out an itinerary that works best for you, make sure you contact Nick Menard and Associates with Dream Vacations. They can help work through that and make sure that you have that experience that you want, whether it's a single bucket or multiple buckets of Costa Rica. They can help tailor it for you. So fantastic. Any last thoughts about Costa Rica you want to share before we wrap up today's episode?
I think the picture is there. I would just say Costa Rica is not just a destination, it's a feeling, and how you experience it depends entirely on what you're looking for. So think carefully about what you want, contact us, and we will make sure that you have the best package possible.
There you go, Wanderlusters. So if you haven't been to Costa Rica, perhaps check it out and give Nick Menard and Associates Dream Vacations a call. If you've been to Costa Rica, maybe you're like, maybe I didn't do all that I could have to really experience the real Costa Rica. Here's your opportunity. Well, thanks, Nick, for sharing. You really brought it to life, and that was really enjoyable. And I'm thinking about Costa Rica, but maybe not for LASIK. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes on that one. But thanks, Wanderlusters. Appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe, share, and follow Tooth for the Win so you know when our episodes drop every Monday and Wednesday. And we will see you next week. Take care.
Bye, winners.
Bye.